Well, good Saturday evening to you. I'm 10 Tampa Bay meteorologist Natalie Ferrari, bringing you the very latest on what is now Tropical Storm Debby, continuing to move to the northwest tonight at about 14 miles per hour. So it was earlier today. It finally left the northwestern coast of Cuba, made it into the southeastern Gulf of Mexico. That allowed it to gradually strengthen from that tropical depression status to a tropical storm. And as of the latest 8 p.m. advisory, which practically just allows us to update not only the pressure, but also the wind speed and the movement of the storm, it is remaining still a tropical storm, and we expect it to continue to do so as we make our way through the overnight hours and in tomorrow, likely maintaining that tropical storm status. And you'll see the heavy rain bands. While we do have quite a bit of broad circulation around with this, it's been a rather messy system. It is becoming better organized in the southeastern Gulf tonight, and this is allowing us to really see those showers and storms get pushed up ahead of it, not only across the Florida Keys, but even through southwest Florida tonight. And yes, even some of those showers we've been picking up earlier today, especially after lunchtime and much of the afternoon, those have been squalls that are pushing ahead of it. So basically that moisture that is being pushed ahead of the system, digging into that deep tropical moisture we're dealing with overhead, throwing those showers and those thunderstorms our direction. Mainly just some heavy rainfall that is quickly pushing through. So ahead of it, you've noticed that breeze turning pretty substantial in some locations. Right now, Hardy and Highlands counties, now getting soon into southern Polk County, we'll be seeing a pretty quick downpour rolling through. As we go through tomorrow, I do think, especially as we get to the morning hours and through lunchtime, some of these squalls could be a little bit stronger at times, and they could even have some embedded tornadoes that we have to watch out for. So we are going to be keeping a very close eye on that for tonight. If that were to happen, it would primarily be in our southern counties, mostly south of I-4. That potential would be there. Tomorrow, it could be a little bit more widespread that we'll have to watch out for. But you'll see how these showers moving from the south towards the north, and they will continue to bring rounds of heavy rainfall at times. What's happening right now is with the latest track, the center of the storm is staying over the eastern Gulf of Mexico. So it is continuing to maintain more of that northerly track back up towards the northeastern Gulf of Mexico by the time we get through late tomorrow night into early Monday morning. With the latest 5 p.m. update, that's when we got the new track. That was the first time we were seeing the potential now for this to strengthen to a Category 1 hurricane with maximum sustained wind speeds by Monday morning, especially as we make our way really past lunchtime into the early afternoon hours right before landfall. There's going to be a very small wiggle room there where it's going to attempt to do so. If this slows down anymore, especially once it gets into the northeastern Gulf tomorrow, there is a pretty decent chance it could try to get to that Cat 1 status a little sooner. So that's another thing we're going to be keeping a very close eye on when it comes to that potential. But you'll see how tropical storm watches and warnings take over much of the Tampa Bay region. And then we have those hurricane warnings that are being encompassed in this little sliver right here where it is expected the storm to make landfall on Monday. That's likely when it will reach the coastline there, and then maintaining tropical storm status even as it meanders through North Florida into Georgia and even the coastal parts of the Carolinas there. Spaghetti and plots, they've been in a pretty decent agreement recently, just continuing to hold this steady through the eastern Gulf of Mexico, back up toward the northeastern Gulf throughout the entire weekend. So that is why those watches and warnings are posted up. For the Tampa Bay region, it's primarily tropical storm warning. So this means conditions, they're kind of already not only favorable, but ongoing in some locations over the next 24 to 36 hours to be dealing with tropical storm force winds. That's 40 miles per hour or higher. We've already seen that with some of these squalls that have been moving through. For areas interior, more so like Polk County, even into Hardy, DeSoto, this yellow here is a tropical storm watch. That means over the next 48 hours, it's possible that some of those squalls could bring those conditions. You'll have to watch out, but it will be a little more few and far between, especially as these bands move inland. But you will feel the effects of Debby. Even though Debby's all the way going to be out here, you're going to feel those squally lines coming through from south to north. Look back up towards, again, Cross City here. You see this deep red. That was also new from that 5 p.m. update. That is a hurricane warning, and that is because hurricane force winds now are possible. The potential is there in parts of the Big Bend region. This is north of Cedar Key. The potential landfall could be right around just north of there, Horseshoe Beach through parts of Cross City. But for right now, we are really just kind of bullseyeing this region to watch for when it comes for potential landfall on Monday morning, early afternoon. Storm surge concern, that's where it's going to be the highest, of course, as that storm does gradually approach the northeastern Gulf of Mexico. So that looks like 4 to 7 foot storm surge that would be possible. Surrounding it would be 3 to 5, and that does include Citrus and Hernando counties. So coastal Citrus and Hernando, out of our entire Tampa Bay region, that's where we will be watching out for the potential highest storm surge because of this system. Back out towards Pasco, Pinellas, and the immediate Tampa Bay region, the immediate Tampa Bay waters through the south, we are remaining pretty consistent at that 2 to 4 foot storm surge range. So that has not changed. 2 to 4 feet is what we'd be watching for right along the coast there. And back here at home, local impacts that we're going to be watching out for, I want to walk you through them county by county because they may be different where you live. Of course, the coastal areas, that is where we watch out for surge. That is where it's primarily a threat. It is water from the ocean getting pushed on shore because of those strong winds from this system. So back up through the Nature Coast from primarily Citrus and Hernando, we're going to be seeing those 40 to 60 mile per hour wind speeds. Again, that could be tropical storm force winds kind of slapping on shore over and over. That could help to spark up that 3 to 5 foot storm surge. I will tell you, Pasco, you're going to be more in that 2 to 4 foot realm. So not quite as high as your neighbors to the north, but area wide along this part of the coast, rainfall could amount to 6 to 12 inches. This is going to be during the whole entire duration of this event. Localized areas could get more than a foot of rain. That won't happen for everybody, but some spots right along this coast could be picking up not only water pushing on shore, but water falling from the sky, that rainfall. And if you have suffered devastating flooding from previous systems because of a foot of rain, that's something you're definitely going to want to keep in mind because of the fact that we have that potential there with these squall lines just brushing heavy amounts of rainfall over and over and even training over the same regions over and over. What you'll need to know is that tropical storm warning remains in effect for all up and down our coastal counties. That also includes Pinellas and Hillsborough as well, continuing to look at that 2 to 4 foot storm surge in some locations. Seem to be having a few technical difficulties with our graphics here, but you'll notice as we go through tomorrow and even into early Monday morning, not only do we keep that tropical storm warning, but we also keep that potential for 2 to 4 foot storm surge along parts of even Manatee and Sarasota counties. Rainfall rates could be close to 5 to 10 inches in some spots. Now, where impacts will be felt the least out of the entire group, you're still going to feel them, don't get me wrong, but where they will be lower is in our inland locations, and that is where we have that tropical storm watch, which is Polk, Hardee, and DeSoto counties. That goes all the way until parts of your Sunday and early Monday. That's going to be the primary concern that we're watching out for. That winds could be right around 25 to 35 miles per hour with 3 to 6 inches of rain when all is said and done. You guys are going to still get those bands of rain lapping in from south to north. And that is why we are going to be still looking for that potential of some areas dealing with flash flooding at times. So here is where we're going to be watching all of these squall lines. It's going to be in that northeastern quadrant. This is the type of squalls here. You see one around pushing from north to south, south to north here. Another one right along the coast pushing as this does gradually approach the northeastern Gulf. But this is the region where if we're going to see any spin-ups or any tornadoes, it would happen within these individualized pockets here. So that is why throughout the entire day on Sunday, even into Sunday night, we've got to watch those squalls very closely. Now, as the core of the system does make landfall, we're still going to be seeing rain wrapping around the backside. This is going to pull up moisture behind it, pulling up all of this tropical moisture out of the Gulf, and that keeps rain chances even going all the way through Monday as well. But because of the fact that this could still make it to a Category 1 hurricane just before landfall on Monday morning, what this model is thinking is going to happen is not only we're going to still have pretty good surge and pretty good water pushing on shore here for our northern counties, really the Nature Coast and of course the Big Bend, but it's thinking landfall could be very close to near Horseshoe Beach, north of Cedar Key, possibly south of Cross City. So it's going to be right in that realm that we're watching out for that potential landfall. Then we keep that storm going off to the east, northeast. So I will tell you, this will continue to change over the coming days, especially with that cone continuing to kind of wiggle. While it's mostly staying well to our west, The center of the storm could either favor the right side of that cone or more so on the left, and that will greatly change just how substantial these rain bands get and how much rain they're able to drop along the coast versus some of our inland locations. So I want to walk you through our Futurecast, get you a more dialed in and step-by-step view overnight through tomorrow morning. You see again some of the squalls that we have been picking up through earlier today. That will continue off and on from south to north through tonight, but it'll be broken up. It won't be nonstop. You'll hear some of that wind howling every once in a while, but for the most part, it's just going to be a mostly cloudy evening with those rain showers passing at times. I want to stop this late morning tomorrow through lunchtime because I do think this is when we're going to start to kind of get the very beginning of those heavier squall lines. These are the squall lines that could have some isolated tornadoes embedded with it. We could see some spin-ups. We could get some of that not only very heavy rain training in the same spots, but we could also get very gusty winds ahead of it and embedded within these storms that bring those tropical storm force conditions, especially up and down along the coastline. That continues. Look at that all the way through Sunday, even now into Sunday night. Again, it's going to greatly change if that center tries to wiggle more out towards the Gulf, but it is looking like it's trying to approach the Big Bend region, parts just north of Cedar Key and Horseshoe Beach by Monday. So that will help to really slap all this rain right along the western fringe of the coast here, western portions of Florida at that. A lot of these widespread, I think it's going to range for the most part 5 to 10 inches when all is said and done. Of course, the higher amounts are going to favor the coastline. It's going to favor a lot of our coastal counties, but some of that will easily be able to spill inland. And then you'll notice some isolated locations kind of even inland up to our north continuing to deal with those heavier amounts even up through not only Tallahassee, but back even into Gainesville, dealing with all of that widespread rain. So localized, I would not be surprised to see a foot of rain or two, rather a foot of rain in some locations or two, where we could be dealing with well higher totals, and that will be something that will have a very hard time with our soil to take. So that could lead to flash flooding concerns, which is why we do have a weather impact alert day for both Sunday and Monday. That would be for that flooding threat that we have to deal with because of this tropical system before conditions gradually improve as the week goes on. We'll be here in the Weather Center all evening long. We have a special newscast we'll be bringing to you on 10 Tampa Bay at 10 o'clock tonight and again at 11. We'll keep you informed, prepared, and connected even here on 10 Tampa Bay Plus throughout the night.